The GOP is not measured by who it says its hero is. The GOP is measured by who it acts like. And this is a President Trump bill. Say one thing and do another. Not worry about bringing people together, but instead be willing to divide people. Be completely concerned about my short-term popularity at the expense of the long-term good of this country. I'm not surprised at this by the president, but I am surprised at this. I'm very, very surprised at this by colleagues who would vote for it without giving it an opportunity to see if we could find something that would be bipartisan, lasting, permanent, and much better for the nation. I hope my colleagues might reconsider this on the floor and test us on our good faith, because we know some things over here and we can make this bill better.
Insult to injury. This legislation provides a huge tax break to corporations that are shifting jobs to China and profits to the Cayman Islands by exempting offshore profits from U.S. taxation, which is known as territorial tax.
This committee, who have the power to stand up, do the right thing, and go to work in a bipartisan way on a bill they can be truly proud of.
For this it is to turn back the clock on the days in America when health care was for the healthy.
The U.S. government, the big credit card in the sky, has already maxed out its credit card, but the bank hasn't noticed, and the government is now applying.
Is for you. If you are in favor of despoiling the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, ANWR, then this bill is for you.
Zero input from citizens, zero input from experts. This has been done in a matter of weeks. When this process was undertaken in 1986, which, by the way, was a bipartisan process involving Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, as I recall.
Does it hurt? Under this bill, if you're a middle-class family, you could be one of the 50 million American households who will see a tax increase within a decade. That's 5.8 million California households. Under this bill, 572,000 taxpayers who make over $1 million a year will get $34 billion in tax cuts in a single year. Tax cut. Instead of giving Americans most fortunate more tax breaks, let's ask them to make a contribution a little bit more to help invest in infrastructure and job training and making college affordable.
And what's the theory behind this big drop in the corporate tax rate? It's a trickle-down theory, the idea that corporations are going to have all this new money and they're going to give their workers a pay raise. They're paying more through the national debt, $1.5 trillion. That's that people could have at their house. Now, pursuant to the city rules, we had to publish that in the paper in advance so that everyone in the city, council members and citizens, would know what was in it. And then we had a hearing, and at the hearing, any citizen got to stand up and say what they liked and didn't like about it. And then the 9 council members debated, and then we voted.
And then you
that hearing in the Richmond City Council was more deliberative, was more inclusive, was more fair. Council, I've done bipartisan
misinformation that's been given out today. So, with no further business records, the people then submitted their comments and went on.
An opportunity to see if we could find something that would be bipartisan, lasting, permanent, and much better for the nation. I hope my colleagues might reconsider this on the floor and test us on our good faith, because we know some things over here and we can make this bill better. If you'll give us the chance, we will. If you don't, the consequences, I think, will be devastating for the country.
Thank you. There are a number of things I could say at this point, but the only one that I really want to say is that we have just set a new record for length of time for a reconciliation vote in the Budget Committee. In the history of the use of the budget, we have never had to take this long. There's been a little bit of discussion about whether amendments could be done or not, And following that, there's been a vote, and then, as we've done today, if people wanted to speak, they could. According to my records, the people then submitted their comments and went on. This is not where the bill is drafted.
Mr. Chair, a historical question.
Our only charge is to take the two committee bills and put them together and vote on whether they get to go to the floor or not, which is where there are unlimited amendments.
Mr. Chair,
So
could I ask you a historical
I'm not
question?
Open the discussion up at this
just a
point.
question.
I've
for
listened to
history's
all of the comments by everybody over here. Everybody had their turn for their 6 minutes, and I appreciate their comments. I made a lot of notes, and we'll have a good debate on the floor, which is where I can cover some of the misinformation that's been given out today. So, with no further business, I remind members wishing to file additional and minority views that hard copies must be signed and filed with the committee clerk in Dirksen 624 by no later than noon on Friday, December 1st. I also ask unanimous consent that the staff be permitted to make necessary technical and conforming changes to the reported bill. Without objection, I thank my colleagues for all their time and dedication today. Our business is concluded, and the committee is adjourned.